Okay, welcome to everybody. Uh, it was planned to have you visit here in Switzerland at Poma Culta, but now with Corona we have chosen another solution with this webinar. So I hope I can give you an impression how we do this breeding, this apple breeding at Poma Culta. First, I want to present you a little bit the organization, the place, and then I hope we come more and more in discussion about breeding. Poma Culta was founded in 2004 as non-profit association for the promotion of research into biodynamic fruit growing. In Hessighofen, Switzerland, we have our research station for fruit breeding. Hessighofen is situated near Bern, in Switzerland, in the lowlands, but low is relatively, it's 600 meters above sea level. So that is our lowland. The research station works in cooperation with the long-standing biodynamic farm Biohof Rigi in Hessighofen, and there is a good collaboration in everything, in work, in machines, in rooms, and I think the farm and the research station can profit from each other. The area of Poma Culta, Hessighofen, is only about 3 hectares, including ecological compensation area with standard trees, hedges, roof paths, etc. I have here a site from above, was made by a drone, and you see here a little bit over the middle of the picture the Biohof Rigi, and in the background you have the village Hessighofen, a little village, very rural, and direction north is above, direction south is at below, west east. And here, this is the surface that Poma Culta could buy in 2027. Before, on this place, it were fields like now at the left-hand side, and then we created a special place for our breeding with hedges and with a little area, a little pond here, and at the upper side there are some standard trees, and then here you see the area for the apple trees. At this side we have apple production for Biohof Rigi. It's we produce with varieties from regular varieties, and there are also some test varieties from Poma Culta in this side. And then you see here at this area we plant the young seedlings, and here we have the second stage of selection. We have the new trees on M9, and in this area we tested the most advanced varieties. We test here how they grow at the normal system. What you see here too is these three little white here we had at this, it's 3 years ago, I think, or 4 years ago, we had bumblebees in cages to do the crossings. And you see also here some trees which are with protection against bees, because here we did some crossings. So that's about from above. And the scope of Poma Culta breeding is about 3,000 to 5,000 seeds per year from targeted crosses. It differs a little bit the years. 1 year we have more, 1 year we have less. Then graftings on M9 for selection level 2. Out of these seedlings, about 150 to 250 a year. And from each convar we make 2 trees. And then level 3, we have propagation on M9 that are about 5 to 10 convars a year with 10 trees each. And then we have some test cultivation on practical farms of Europe. There are 6 farms from Hamburg, Altes Land, to Nantes in France, to South Tyrol, and Lake Constance, and in the Netherlands, and one in Switzerland. And on these farms, we have 7 candidate varieties, and at all 720 trees. And then we have
Niklaus, I'm very sorry. Before you go on, what is a convar for you? We received this question. Can you clarify?
Okay, yeah, please.
Thank you.
Yeah. A convar is a new, let's say, a new variety, but as I speak from variety if it's official. So after crossing, I get many different seedlings, and each seedling is a convar. Is that clear? Is that
Yes.
understandable?
Yes, thank you very much.
Always interrupt me if I am not very clear in explaining, please.
Believe me, we will. Thank you.
Okay. So we have 9 convars, or let's say a candidate for varieties in official testing, variety testing. We have in the Netherlands, in Switzerland, in Germany, and in South Tyrol on research stations, there are some varieties for testing. So Poma Culta's breeding approach, that is on-farm breeding. The key to success is selection under conditions as comparable as possible to the situation in which the new varieties have to prove themselves later. That's our conviction, and that's why we do on-farm breeding. Our generally breeding goal is optimally adapting the plant to its environment, and by this improving the quality of the fruit, optimizing the yield, and reducing the cultivation risks. I can explain now some stages of the traditional crossbreeding we do in Hessikofen. So, as you know, apples are mandatory cross-pollinators. It's obligatory that you have two different varieties to cross. It will be no self-pollination. So first step is to find good parents, to study a little bit the ancestors and to find good parents to combine. And then we do it by hand. We bring the pollen from the father plant on, sorry, something happened here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can still hear you.
But you won't see anything, I think.
Well, not at the moment, but just start again with the, yeah, that's it.
Okay, okay. Something. Okay.
These things happen all the time, so
Okay, here we are again.
thank you.
Okay, so we do the pollination by hand, and we bring the pollen from the father plants to the blossom of the mother plant, and before and afterward, immediately we have to pack in the blossoms because no other insects should bring some pollen we don't want. This work must be done in a very short period because the blossom period is mostly only several days, maybe a week. So we must have some people help us to do this work. Oh, okay. I see you. You see the wrong screen, is it?
We can follow the presentation this way if you wish, but this is not the full presentation mode, but it's all right, I
It's all
think.
right. Okay.
Yes.
So I leave it like that, huh?
Yes, that's all right.
Okay. So another possibility is to build a cage around trees and then to put there some bumblebees for the pollination and bring some branches with flowers into this cage for the bumblebees can do the cross-pollination. That's something I also do every year. It's a good possibility to get a lot of apples out of this pollination. The seeds are then, the fruits in autumn are harvested, the seeds are taken out, and then the seeds must be put to stratification or vernalization in winter. They are seeded in winter and they will germinate in spring. So we will have in the second stage thousands of seedlings, and we can select. So here you see some seedlings, mostly much more, and this is now in end of March, and 4 or 3 weeks later, they will be planted in long rows outside, and maybe end of June, it looks like that. Every 20 centimeters there is a tree, and every tree is genetically different from the other. Even if the whole row has the same parents, every tree is genetically different from the other. And you see at the left-hand side here, this is the row from the year before, and here you see much less trees because all the lacking trees here were cut because they were not nice, they were not healthy, and so on. So for example, here you see these are all from the same parents, and they're very different. You have here one tree which is full of mildew, and right at the side there is a very healthy one. And this one has well mildew here. We have a very high level of infection here because all these trees with diseases we let at the place for the moment. So everything here is full of spores, and if we find just at the side of such a mildew tree, a very nice tree, we know that this one is very resistant against mildew. The seedlings, they I leave them for 2 seasons, and in the second season I can do all selection for mildew, for scab, for Elsinoe and other, and Marsonina, and all diseases, and also the architecture of the trees can a little bit be scored. And then the best of these seedlings, from the best I take the top, and the top is grafted on M9 spindle trees. We make out of this, and oh, where are we? So, and they are planted in a system like that, like a V. So I have always two trees of the same convar. One goes this side, the other goes this side. And here you see how it is grafted. This is the grafting is done in winter time, and that's as it looks now, just at the moment. These pictures I took 2 days ago. So these are the young trees from all the seedlings I had. About 5 to 10% are here, and from this I will get fruits. It's also very nice in autumn to get all these fruits, to see all these fruits, and then when you try them, of most of them, um, you're not glad of them. They are sour or they are uh, not crispy. So again, about 95% or more can be taken off because it's not good. Only the best, they come to the next stage, and then about 10 trees are made of the same convar, and they are planted in a producing system as it is normal. And here now we have, from these candidates, we have to know more about yield, about market potential, about possibilities of store it, and that looks then a little bit like that. You have 10 trees of the same, and for several years, 4, 5 years, you harvest it and you look if the yield is good, if it is healthy, and so on. Let me tell you also something about plant protection. In the first stage of the selection, the seedlings, we do absolutely no fungicides. We want there no plant protection because we want to see how they are without anything. If they are robust, if they are resistant, and and only the best we take for second stage. And in the second stage, in this V system, we do a plant protection, but not the normal eco plant protection or organic plant protection, but a reduced plant protection system. It means reduced in, about agents we use. There are only two fungicide we use. That is sodium bicarbonate at one side and mycosine at the other side, or potassium bicarbonate and mycosine. We don't use any copper, we don't use any sulfur and lime sulfur because we want to treat with very, let's say, gentle agents. And at the other hand side, the technique for spraying must be the best technique we have. We want to have a really good application of these substances, and also the time for the application is used by a good scab system for scab foresight. So best application time, best application technique, but gentle agencies. That is our philosophy, and we hope that with that we can select better apple, more resistant, more robust apple than we have for the moment on the market. Yeah, this is about how Poma Culta works. Is there, I think we can have any questions now, and maybe I can answer you.
All right. Thank you very much for this part of the presentation. Anybody would like to address any questions at this stage? Please raise your hand and then I will give you the floor.
Yes, if there is no one else.
All right, go ahead, Francois.
Yes, Francois speaking. Hi, everyone. Hi, Niklaus.
Hi, Francois.
Maybe a question you were telling about spreading your compars to other research stations in Germany, Switzerland, etc.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have any agreement with these people, maybe with farmers? What can you say about the agreements and the exchange conditions for assessing your cultivars?
Okay. With the official research stations, there is normally the UFRIN contract, it's a standard contract that is that we have. That is our agreement, and with the farmers, I have these 6 farms, and with them I have a private agreement about testing these varieties, and important points are that they are not showing to everybody what's growing there. So it should be a little bit, let's say, not top secret, but not just for the public. And the second is that the fruits can be brought to market officially. That is law of European Community that only registered varieties can be sold. So they must use it, otherwise eat it themselves or whatever. But we have we have not a very high regulated contract, so it's also much is based on trusting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your question, Francois. Anybody else? All right, I see no further hands, so I suggest that we continue. Oh, Kostas, sorry, Kostas, go ahead, please, Kostas, the floor is yours.
Hello to everybody.
Hello,
I'm
Kostas.
Chris from Julips, and we are working with Niklaus and Francois in the LIVESEED, working on building a network in Europe for organic fruit breeding. So it's very useful, all these activities that Niklaus is presenting to us. And I want to ask him if he wants to present some more things about the Tema project or the inter-border activities they have with Belgium, with Marketer, or with FIBO. And that is very crucial to see how institutions are working together and what they can produce from these activities. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for this question. I have long-term collaboration with FIBO and also with Wädenswil, the Agroscope, the Swiss research station for apple breeding. We have some project we do together. Some is about breeding with old varieties, old Swiss varieties, and I think it's good to work together, to talk together, to know what others does. On-farm breeding is something special, but I'm also very interested in what others do. And with Marc Latour, I have more personal contact. We have no project together yet. Maybe in future we could work more together. Poma Culta is also has applied for a project in pair breeding. It's a call from Switzerland, and we will do it with research station in Wallis, Switzerland. But we don't know now if this will be accepted, this project. But we hope that we can get it, and also there is planned to work together with Marc Latour and maybe with other breeders from Europe which are which like to share some knowledge with us about pears. And then is also a collaboration with Apfelgut. That is the organic project from apple and pear breeding in Germany. So there we have also a good contact, but we have no project in common. I hope I didn't forget anything, but this as overview.
Thank you, Nicholas, for that. Anybody else would like to have the floor? No. All right, then I suggest that we continue.
Okay, I propose to present you now something about my breeding ideas. It's a presentation which I also already had at Hohenheim this February at EcoFruit. Sorry for this who have heard it already there, but maybe for others it's interesting, and I would be also glad to get some to discuss about my ideas afterward. As I already said, one speciality of apple breeding is the heterozygosity of the apple, and this means that your planning of the breeding process, of putting together the parents is it's very unsure what you get for results, because the heterozygosity make that you get a very great variability of the offspring. And I always thought, how can we become, how can we get a little more homozygosity? It's clear we cannot have too much, because otherwise we would have inbreeding effects we don't want. But maybe a little bit line breeding could be interesting. And I studied also many apple varieties, and how about their ancestors. Looked at the pedigree, and I can present you now 3 examples where we see that there is a little bit inbreeding or line breeding that has led to good results. For example, here we have topaz. You see at father's side it's Rubin, the father, and mother's side it's Wanda, and this Rubin, that is Lord Lamburn crossed with Golden Delicious. And at the other side, Wanda, that is Yolana crossed with Lord Lamburn. So you have Lord Lamburn, the both sides. Here in Rubin, Lord Lamburn is 50%. Here in Vanda, Lord Lamburn is 50%. Again, in Topaz, Lord Lamburn is 50%. That is one example. Then, for example, Mayrac, Swiss variety. You see Mayrac as a result from Gala, father, Maygold, mother. And here you find Gala, that is Kids Orange crossed with Golden Delicious. And at the other side, you find again Golden Delicious crossed with Frau Rotacher, and the variety is Maygold. Oops, so I was just at Mayrac. So also here, the same thing as with Topaz, you have the Golden Delicious 50% in Mayrac. And a third example is Rubens, also a new variety, Gala, also in Rubens at father's side. And at mother's side, you find Elstar, and Elstar as Gala, they have Golden Delicious in their ancestors. And then you find in Rubens even more. You find here Cox Orange, father sides as mother from Kids Orange, and you find it mother sides as mother from Ingrid Mary. So you have Cox Orange and Golden Delicious coming from both sides to Rubens. My thesis on inbreeding, that inbreeding increases characteristics of the ancestors. It increases the good ones and the bad ones. So the bad ones could be the inbreeding depression, a loss of vitality, and so on. But also good characteristics can be increased. And our work by selection is to select out the characteristics of the ancestors increased that are the good ones. Then also hidden characteristics based on minor genes can be brought to appearance. Also this minor genes can be good or bad. And last but not least, inbreeding helps to anchor characteristics more firmly in the genome. Most of the characteristics we like in the apple and we like to improve are quantitatively inherited. That means they are based on many genes, not only on one gene. And these quantitatively inherited traits, they cannot be improved abruptly, but only gradually over several generations. For example, the fruit shape, that is absolutely quantitatively inherited. There are many, many genes which are which are the base of fruit shape. So it cannot change very abruptly. Well, color from yellow to red, that is much more easily. But many other characteristics, they are quantitatively. Also, as you see about the taste of a fruit is based on several hundred different molecules. Not always all are involved, but always many different molecules are involved in this fruit taste. So fruit taste is absolutely quantitatively inherited. And it's not only sugar and it's not only acid, it's much more. Already the acid is not one single acid. There are several acids, citric acid, it's apple, I don't know the English expressions, it's apple specific acid, it's wine specific acid. So it's many different acids that make then also the taste of the fruit. So we always have to get step by step. One generation can have a little step in the good direction if we find it, if we do good selection. We could go further. I can present you some examples from my breeding, a little bit, what is a little bit inbreeding and results. You see here, parents were Braeburn and Ravenna, and I had a first convar selected, this 3988, first generation. And this was apple which had much acid. So I was not very glad. It had too much acid, but it had a good, crispy fruit. It was a good crispy fruit, but too much acid. I crossed it with Ottawa, and I crossed it too with Topaz. And I got in the second, and I crossed it with Rika. So, and the second generation, these are the three best lines. With Ottawa, this is also a good line, but for the example here, I did a crossing between this line with from Raika and this line descendant from Topaz. Also, Topaz and Raika, they have some same ancestors. They're both varieties from Professor Tupi, and they have same, not all, but they have some same ancestors in their pedigree. And now what comes out of this? That would be the third generation. This crossing is done, but the selection is not done. So I can only tell you about my fiction. And here you can see about the results I got from Breburn and Ravenna. That is characteristic of Breburn. Crispiness, very good. Aroma, very good. But a lack in scab resistance. Also, Marsonina coronaria is not very good. Sooty blotch is not good at all. And here you have Ravenna, crispiness, not good. Aroma, not good. Here have Elsinoe spots, not good. But you have a good scab resistance, even if the VF resistance is broken. It's better. It's not resistant anymore, but it's very robust. And coronaria is not very good. Sooty blotch is not good at all. The result here, Breburn Ravenna, good crispiness, very good crispiness. Aroma, as I said already, is at the level of Ravenna. Good Closporium resistance. Here I have no data. And Elsinoe is about the same as Ravenna, but scab is much better as Breburn at the level of Ravenna, and Marcellina coronaria. It's astonishing, but it's better than both of the parents, and that is something that occurs sometimes, that you get better results than you expected from the parents. Sooty blotch, the same, also better than the parents. Now, what I expect to get in the next generation is okay. You have this. This is this number 3988. So 3988 crossed with Ottawa. Here you have also what's good in Ottawa, aroma, and what's not good is the rest. And what we're looking for is that the crossing from Ottawa and Poma Culta 3988 could have this all at a better level. That is the idea of my crossing. With Rika, it's an example with Rika. You see what Rika is lacking is a robustness against Marsonina coronaria. Well, this is a new disease. When Rika was breeded, Marsonina coronaria didn't exist in Europe, but it's really bad at this. And again, with this 3988 crossed with Rika, I expect to find some Cultivars in the offspring would have better results. No, this crossing was done. Yeah, this crossing was done. Sorry, that's not fiction. This crossing was done. POC 700 has this results, and POC 0321 has this better results, and now another third generation. I propose to cross these good results already and to get another better results. Okay, these characteristics are not all we want. I just met here something about fruit quality and some traits about resistancy. We should we should find an apple with this good results, but with good yield, with regular yield, and also with a good storage characteristic. This is again a big step to take. It's not sure that if we reach this goal here, we can arrive also to find good storage, good yield, regular yield, etc. So as you see, apple breeding goes step by step. We can't find too much at once, only step by step. So again, I want to get into discussion with you.
Thank you very much for this new theory. And I would like to open the floor. Please feel free to raise your hand if you have an opinion or a feedback, or you have any further questions about what was just presented. I guess it needs some digestion first. It needs to be digested a little bit. We are also happy to receive any feedback on this theory later on. If you feel like, via email, you can also email us or Niklaus directly, or just put your opinion in the chat function if you would like. So we welcome any feedback. And while they are thinking about questions, I have also questions to break the silence. So I'm really curious, Niklaus, when you finally reach the level where you have a variety, a new one that is not sour anymore and it's crispy and it was tested in different countries and it's ready for the market, you have been successful in entering your varieties to the market. So I really wonder how you do it, how you organize your market entry for a new variety. Is it the short value chain that you target, or how do you go about that?
Yeah, this this is a wide field, market launching and marketing, and I think we have to work on this very hard. As you see, um, the Cosmic Crisp, the new American variety that is now launched by this breeders of Washington University. They have a marketing budget of $30 million to bring really a good fruit to the market. So I think it will not be easy to convince the dealers to deal with new apples, even if they are nice, because it for the logistic handling, it's each new variety brings in the first time more work for the logistic sector. Nevertheless, I think we will make it to bring new varieties on the market, because for organic for the organic market, it's more interesting to get a specialty, a new specialty, which is not everywhere, which is something new, something special. And we have also many direct marketers, farms with direct marketing, of farms which deal with shops. So this would be a good chance to bring the new variety to the market. A problem is that if you want to bring a new variety to the market, you have to do the registration, and the registration that costs some money. Let's say about €10,000 for one variety at first, and then each year maybe €1,000 as long as it is as you have the license. If you're sure that the market will accept this variety and it will be a good deal, the €10,000 is not €10,000 is not much, but it would be nice to bring 10 different varieties to the market, because you don't know in the first moment which of this would be the one that will make it, and maybe one of these 10 will make it and 9 other won't make it. So if you calculate like this, it would not be $10,000, but it would be $100,000. And this is this makes it not so easy also to decide if we launch a variety or not. It's not a problem that the variety must be red or green or blue to be accepted, to be registered. You can get registered any variety you want. It will be the consumer and the dealers that decide if this variety will be successful at the market. But it costs. And one possibility is to get a low level registration in Germany that costs not much, not €1,000, but then you're limited. This registration is only for local use, and if it's registered once on this level, you can't get any upgrade. You can't say, okay, that's nice, people like it. We would upgrade it on a normal registration and spread it all over Europe. This wouldn't be possible anymore. So you have to choose local or European registration, and it's not, there are not both possibilities.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you very much. Thank you. We have a question from Sevi. Can you please unmute your microphone and raise your question?
Yes, thank you. Hello, Niklaus. Hello to everybody.
Hello.
Sevi, I'm a member from Gilups.
Yeah.
We've met last year in Biofach.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Anyway, I would like to ask you, it's very impressive what you do, but in which exactly stage do you do all these tests about the criteria that you present us, about the crispiness, the aroma, etc.? Because I guess you can't test 1,000 trees about this, or you can.
Let's say mostly if you test a new apple, you can say, oh no, it's not good, or maybe it's good, but it should be better to be a progress. So in autumn, when I harvest the new fruits the first time, I can, from about 80%, I can say at first sight or at first time I bite in the apple, this is not really a progress. This is not the future. So the rest only 20%. And if you have maybe 100 or 200 news a year, so it are 20 to 40 apples, you say, okay, this could be something. Let's try next year again. And all of this they're stored in a fridge and they are tested another 2, 3, 4 times during the winter. So the more I come to spring, less of these apples are still to test because more and more are already they're over. They are not good anymore. So it's well, it's a great number to test, but it's also a great number where you can easily say it's nothing. And very few say, oh, amazing, this is great. But it's not sure that the next time you test it a month or 2 months later or next year, you will be find it's great again. Maybe you're amazed, but it's not great anymore.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Did it answer your question? Yes, I guess so. Anybody else?
Yeah, definitely.
Evelyn is in line. Thank you. Evelyn, please unmute your microphone.
Hello, thank you for the presentation. How many years do you need to do the test in order to be sure that the different characteristics of the different varieties are keeping in the time?
The characteristics, they don't change, but what we must get knowledge about is if the interaction of the plant with the with the climate, with everything, for several years is good. Well, maybe I didn't express myself very good.
Yes, I understood what you said. It's just what I am asking. How many years is what I would like to know. How many years do you need to try in order to see if these environmental factors are really affecting or not the different characteristics, or are more or less stable independently of this?
I think it needs about 4 to 5 years to know a little bit about the environmental factors. But then are some others like the storage of the fruits. You must test it. Can it be stored very well? Can it be stored also under controlled atmosphere? What's the how the mixture of the gas in controlled atmosphere must be, and many details on that. So I would say after crossing 6 years, you need 6 years to say first something about the apple. For maybe after 5 years you have first apples, or after 6 years you have sure mostly apples. So you can say something after the quality, but then you need another 5, 6 years to test it in different environments and then you have this storage. So about 15 years it needs, and even then it could be that there are some surprises, some traits you don't like and you didn't see it before. When you look at varieties that are launched, in first time everybody think that's the great variety, and after 5 years and produced on many farms with thousands of trees, you will find the real characteristics. Often some thoughts come after 5, 6 years, and many have planted and are not so glad. So it's difficult to change the good time to launch a variety, because if you wait too long, it's a pity. If you go if you launch it too early and afterward there are some faults you find, it's also a pity. It's really, it takes time, but I think 15 years from crossing to launching is about a period you must calculate.
Okay, thank you very much. Too much time, I think.
Thank you, Evelyn. Kostas, please unmute your microphone.
Yeah. Well, I have a comment about this the stability, and I have also a question. Well, as a breeder, you know, my fear is the stability. But I'm working on wheat. But as an organic breeder, because we are working with agrobiodiversity, we feel more relieved or more safe doing the breeding work, because climate change is something we are working with, and we think that biodiversity can help us with the adaptation and do some best breeding towards climate change. With the market of the trees, the tree varieties, I want to ask Niklaus if he has something to say about the BioVerita label, that it is a common tool for organic breeders to release their varieties in the market. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the hint. It's I think it's very essential that we got this BioVerita label. It's really important for ecological breeding because it's a label that shows the consumer that this variety is bred under biological conditions, and it's not the same if you breed for biological agriculture, as many research stations do by breeding with resistances, or if you breed really under ecological, biological conditions. And for that, BioVerita as label is very important. and it's a label that shows a positive characteristic of the variety. It's not a label that says this is free from or this is not bred with GMO, but it says this label is bred under biological or organical conditions, and it's clear that GMO is excluded. So Bio Verita, I think in future it will be really important, and we see that that the difference or the border to GMO or not is more and more it's not very clear. What is GMO? What's not GMO? But Bio Verita and organic breeding, which is also has its definition by EcoPB. This is a clear label. This is the consumer. For the consumer, it's a good orientation.
Thank you. I have a question. So when you test a variety in other countries, are those 6 farms that you mentioned are also organic or biodynamic?
The most biodynamic one is organic.
And are there differences between the biodynamic and the organic in the results of your varieties because of the fact that how they operate or how they manage the farm?
I can't see some different yet, but you know the plant protection in biodynamic and organic systems is nearly the same. Well, biodynamic has some other measures, some other ideas, but the direct plant protecting measures are nearly the same. So I think this makes no difference. But all these farms are good producers, big farms, and specialists in apple growing.
Mm-hmm. And do you use any fertilizer? And if you use, what do you use?
At the farms, at the test farms, the trees are grown in the same way as they do it regularly on their farm. And here at my place, I use as fertilizers when I plant a tree, I use some sheep wool. I put in some sheep wool as for acid. So that's my fertilizer, and then some compost. But it's not very. I like to breed rather on a low nutrient level. Also to see how the seedlings can take the nutrients out of the ground. there are also very big difference.
Yes, thank you very much. Next question, please, from the floor. All right, so we don't have a question at the moment. So let me ask about your collaboration with the locals. Do you engage the local community or a community-based system to test your apples or in any other activities or farm field days when they can visit your place to see what you do?
Mhm. Poma Culta has about 250 members, and most of them are consumers as well. There are farmers also has joined Poma Culta, and every year we have one sightseeing event in September or October for members and everybody who is interested. And at this moment, we also taste new fruits, and usually the people can fill in a form how they like this number or this number. And then I have one event more for specialists in apple growing or people from the market. And also at that time we taste some new varieties. And then is every year at Fibel, Switzerland, is a fruit growing event in winter for all the fruit growers, and also there apples from me and others are tested. So I like to have good feedback on this on my varieties, and I know also a little bit by my tasting what people like.
I see. And what do you do with all those fruits that don't taste very good? How do you process them? Do you make juice, or do you process the
the,
compote, or do you
no,
make any use of that?
the best is to put it to juice.
Mhm.
it it and this will be mostly a very good apple juice because there's so many different fruits in it. So it will be a good juice.
And do you have a distillery also to make
No,
the Calvados type of drinks?
no, I don't make any distillates. No, also the juice. Um, I I bring it to someone uh, who makes the juice. I don't do it myself. I have no capacity to do this.
I see. And do you collaborate with universities to have students for you to help with when you have the pollination season and all the other works, or how do you organize your help?
For pollination, I have some let's say 5, 6 people who are interested to help me, and I can give them a phone. In the next days, your help will be needed. So it's a very short period, and now the last years I had always a trainee, and I can also get help from the farm, from Biohof Rigi. So I and also much of the work I do myself because I'm not a breeder in the office. I won't be a breeder living with my trees. So much of pruning and also the scoring I do myself, and I think it's very helpful to have a good relation with the trees, and always working with the trees I can ask, and who will be crossed with whom next time, next spring. So the whole year already the planning for the crossing is going on. And yeah, and now since this year, I have also somebody as a collaborator in scientific questions, and he's preparing also this pair breeding project. But in the beginning, I was alone. I did all myself.
Wow. Thank you for your answer. The floor is open again. Would anybody raise a question next?
Yes,
Costas.
Francois again.
Oh, Francois as well. Okay, so first Francois and then Costas.
Okay, maybe it's a link to what Costas intended to say, but I had a question about how do you feel that your cultivars are relevant for local growers, or do you think it could be made available for Europe-wide production areas, or do you better think that there should be other initiatives like yours in each region of Europe, maybe not in every country, because we have different growing conditions in each country, but do you think we should multiply such initiatives like yours? And so maybe in link to what Costa said, we started to identify the different breeding initiatives available in Europe with the LIVESEED project. So maybe there is a Europe map that we can share to the participants, and maybe if the participants know of other initiatives, that would be interesting to let us know in order to increase the survey and the map, and to improve that map.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I'm convinced that I have varieties that are that have very good characteristics for direct marketing, and they are not really apt for big for the for storing in in
Big
CA
farms.
and ULO conditions. For example, I have one variety that is still crispy at normal mechanical cooling systems. It is still crispy in April, but you can't eat it before February because before February, it's too sour. It must lose its acid, and then it is super in spring. But this is not a variety for supermarkets because in supermarket they won't have a variety, the same variety from autumn up to the next autumn, and not a variety you have for 2 or 3 months in spring. But all farms with direct marketing could be interested in such a variety. The problem is how uh, how can we launch it? How can we bring it to the market? You know, with other laws, it would be much more easy. I would like to say to the people, take it, look if it's good, if you can, if consumer accept it, if you're glad with that variety, and if one farm would be glad with that variety, I'm sure others would say we like to have it too. But it's not easy with our laws. But maybe one day we find a deal.
Yes, maybe one day, let's hope. I shared the map in the chat function in the meantime that Nicholas was talking about. This is a map showing the organic apple and fruit breeders across Europe. So please feel free to check out the link and feel free to let us know if you know any initiative as Francois mentioned. And now I give the floor to Kostas.
Yes, thank you, Francia, for your comments, and you're speaking about the LIVESEED Apple Task network, and you, Agnes, for releasing this information about the map. Well, I think that the breeding is a very important issue, and this special technically issue is it looks like remote from the community. So we think that LiveSeed is aiming at supporting the breeders in their job, which you understood that it's a time and cost consuming issue, and we think that maybe breeding is going to be some like community supported, let's say, because the costs are so high. So if anybody of you, of the participants of this webinar, is dealing with breeding or is uh, um, uh, is have a contact with a breeder, a fruit breeder, or apple breeder in his country, it would be very good to have a contact with him and invite him to join the network we are working on, and we are now targeting on a cooperative um, network of organic fruit breeding in Europe, and we are hoping that in the next period of time we are going to have a common database and share methodologies and maybe share also some material. So I don't know if anybody of the participants here is dealing with breeding or not, or has some information to give us in his country.
Who is breeding apples? Please raise your hands in the audience. Yes, a lot of shy people. No hands raised. All right. In any case, if you would like to receive more information about our apple breeding network, please feel free to contact me, Agnes. I'm the coordinator of the LIVESEED project. Or if you check out the map, you can also see all the other breeders. Kostas in Greece at Agilops is coordinating the apple soup task in the project. So we are your comments and questions are very welcome. Please also spread the information to your colleagues who are breeding at the moment. And if there are no more questions, then I think we are going to wrap up this webinar. So please, for last questions or comments, raise your hands. All right, no more questions. So I would like to thank Niklaus to guide us through his activities. It was very interesting. I hope everybody enjoyed this webinar and we all learned something new. Please be so kind as to comment on his theory if you have a comment or an idea to share with him or any feedback that you would like to give. And we recorded the session and we hope we will discuss what to share or how to share it best. And we will inform you about where it is going to be available. And otherwise, thank you very much for participating during the event, and I wish you a very nice afternoon.